I see this a lot. I want to make sure, and not just here, it's all around, right? The wine industry is such a big revenue generator. I want to make sure that it doesn't overshadow what got us here.
Absolutely.
Right?
Green beans that people would pack down the road, man, and the cherries. We want that.
So I wouldn't be doing my due diligence from this unique spot if I didn't bring that up of, I literally see it on both sides of the coin. And, I don't want this industry that I know and love to overshadow
What brought you to
that
that?
it brought me here.
Absolutely.
You know what I
That's
mean?
really
So-
valuable
It
feedback.
kind of brings me to something else too. Now that our commissioner is here, it's a good time to bring it up.
He's not on the clock, he's not on the clock.
And that's the farm stand business.
Yeah,
It
right
didn't
answer.
I know it did, and that's great, because the farm stand is something that it is a.
It's a
tourist thing.
unique. Yeah.
You come here, you get fresh,
Absolutely.
produce,
Mhm.
fresh everything, and it's.
He sells their eggs.
We
and
are the
their
bread
meat.
basket right here.
Let's.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with promoting that thought process as well, because
Yeah.
I pass by them all the time, and how many times have you pulled over and said, hey, let's see what we can bring home this evening or whatever.
I will go to that farm stand sometimes, a lot over even the grocery store, like for strawberries and certain things.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
I love
that's
that.
huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. So,
Yeah, it's an interesting razor's edge to walk because the wine industry is driving the vast majority of our tourism dollars here. However, once we get them into town, it's important to know that there's more assets for them to explore.
Breweries and.
Oh, and a
Art
distillery,
center, all kinds of.
But that-
food made
water
local,
access,
fabulous.
absolutely.
But that article does that,
Mhm.
you know, on the little, it's just a really fun thing, I can send you guys the link if you want, but. Where, day one, do this in the day
Yeah.
two, hard cider
Mhm.
place, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really visits the valley and Dayton specifically,
Yeah.
it's
That's great.
beautifully done.
Yeah, so right now we're attempting to harness, forgive the horrific pun, but the low hanging fruit of wine tourism, yes. And making sure that those people who are already coming to the valley, maybe they're coming in, they're staying a night in McMinnville and they're like, oh, I heard about Dayton. I'm gonna go check it out. They're in town because of wine, but when they get here, they're gonna eat at the Bay House. They're gonna get, some ice cream at Juanita's. They're gonna do all of those things. But I want to encourage you, if you see anything in our efforts that doesn't align, that doesn't quite hit right,
yeah, that's,
let us
Sure.
know.
absolutely, please.
And actually, Robin brought up a good point. We can use that really wonderfully balanced article to inform some of the copywriting on our website.
Thanks.
So absolutely, absolutely.
And please take it with the spirit of integrity. I didn't mean to put it down or anything.
All voices, it's good, it's
Mhm.
good.
I rarely leave town. Do you have a picture of that? Billboard you were talking?
Oh, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
have, I haven't been north and
It's really cool.
since before it went up.
Yeah,
I'd love to
Mhm.
we'll get that for you, yeah.
Yes,
Send
it looks really good.
Cool.
And Dave, I did contact them about cutting that branch off.
Good.
There's a branch right in front of it right now. I'm like, whoa. Any other questions? All right, well, I encourage, absolutely, and I encourage you guys, if you have any ideas, any thoughts, talk to Dave and I. We're very open and wanna make sure that we're hitting all aspects of Dayton that are going to be beneficial to the community members. That's the whole idea of economic development through tourism. We get visitor dollars here, they leave their money in our local businesses, and then they get out. And that's a really great thing for the local community.
Yep.
So, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, we are on to action item 3, Public Works Design Standards, Denny.
571 pages.
Okay. Is my audio working?
Yes,
Okay. I don't have a formal presentation to go through it with the design standards update. I'll just kind of give a general overview. the cities had first adopted public works design standards back in, I think it was 2007. And each year, you know, there's periodically the public works changes some materials that they use, but for the most part, we go through and on an annual basis, we do updates to the design standards, primarily to clarify things where there might be ongoing questions from different parties that are proposing to do work within the city. Or in some cases, when the state legislature passes new rules regarding development and what has to be provided in conjunction with development, those type of requirements get folded into that annual design standards update as well. So I know that in the packet, they provided all of the counselors with a link to, it's just a red line track changes version that shows what the, you know, the updates and modifications were, clarifications were. These are all, we go through and in the various cities where we serve as city engineer, we, as things come up, if they are applicable to Dayton, we go ahead and put those into the annual update. Then we send those over to the Public Works Department, and they go through those and make sure that they fit with how they want to see the city's infrastructure put together. And then if there's anything that we haven't picked up on that they've been dealing with during the year, then they add those things to that. And then it comes to the council with a resolution just to concur with those updates. So that's basically where we're at for this year.
We have a counselor that has a question, Denny.
Okay.
Denny, short of us opening up that document and looking at it right now, is there anything in it that you said, gosh, that one's a big deal? Or, you know, is there anything you want to highlight for us in that document without us actually opening it and combing through it? Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in this year's update that is major changes to, you know, what the city requires. I mean, there is a few things, for instance, well, I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head here recently in one of the recent legislative sessions, for instance, for commercial or multifamily residential projects that have parking lots, the state now requires that conduit be stubbed out for to accommodate electric vehicle charging stations on a certain percentage, a defined percentage of the parking spaces in a new parking lot. So those requirements were put into the design standards so that as they prepare drawings for the parking infrastructure, that the conduit alignments and stuff are shown and they don't get overlooked.
Nice, thank you. Excellent. Does anybody else have any questions for Denny? Well, you got out of this easy tonight.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I'd like to talk about next steps.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't put this on for approval tonight because I wanted to ensure you had enough time to comb through this 500+ page document. As you're reviewing it between now and the next meeting, if you have any questions, please send that to me and I'll get that answered. If I can't answer it, I'll get a response from Danny. But if I don't hear anything, we'll put this on for the 1st September meeting for approval.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Denny.
Okay, you're more than welcome.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Okay, action item number 4, approval of resolution 2025/2602, changing the signature authority for US Bank. We're just switching one out and putting a new one in.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I move to approve resolution 2526-02, a resolution changing signature authority for US Bank primary checking account.
A second.
Yes, sir. I got a motion from Counselor Mackin and a second from Counselor Typro. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, action item 5, franchise agreement extension with Ziply, page 11.
Mayor, I'm asking for council approval tonight for this extension with Ziply Fiber Northwest, one of our franchisees. Our franchise agreement with them is set to expire soon. This will buy us some time to update that agreement, bring up the standards, go through all the public approval processes, bring it back to you for approval. In case you're wondering, a franchise agreement is required because anytime you're operating within the city rights of way, you have to have permission to do that. And if it's long-term, if you're installing public infrastructure, you have to have what's called a franchise agreement.
All right.
Right.
Yes,
I move to approve the franchise extension with Ziply Fiber Northwest and to authorize the mayor to sign it.
I have a motion from Counselor Peterson, a second from Counselor Hildebrandt. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we are on to action 6, item number 6, system integrator of record RFP. Page 15. Jeremy.
I brought this to the council tonight for your buy-in on a process to select a key member of our consulting team moving forward. This is an integrator of record. The integrator of record services our programmable logic controllers, our supervisor controlling data acquisition systems at the water treatment plant. By going through this competitive process, we'll have a consultant on board, much like our engineer, much like our attorney, who can provide services to us on an as-needed or emergency basis. Right now, we're working with them just based on each contract. Every time we need something, it's a new contract. So this will be an ongoing consulting relationship with them. It'll also enable us to wrap bigger projects like the Google Wells telemetry under our master services agreement with them. As far as the next steps, I'm still working with our city legal counsel on the final language for this. Our legal counsel is okay with council authorizing us to proceed with the understanding that I'll have a final draft based on our attorney's input. Once the final draft is finished, the engineer will issue an invitation for proposals. We'll have a mandatory on-site pre-app conference. We'll receive the responses, we'll score them, we'll do interviews, and we'll bring a recommended firm to you for approval at a later date.
Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
You know why we haven't done this until now?
Okay.
Don't know.
Okay, just
Yeah,
curious.
I'll say that it's not unusual. I went through the same process in my previous city, and it was just a function of not knowing that this is an option. That may have been the case here.
What's costing the thing? On average, I mean, obviously, we're gonna go out for bids, but what is there a general estimate of what kind of cost this could occur?
They'll produce a rate sheet,
Okay.
just with their standard rates. I don't know where it currently stands. You know, $100 or $200 an hour for certain technicians.
Okay.
That's what I would expect. And then once we have bigger projects, like the Google Wells telemetry, for instance, they'll produce a quote for the entire project.
Is the intent that this is gonna hit this fiscal year or more so next fiscal year, if we have to go out for bids and, you know, is this gonna be a long-term process?
No.
Okay, I'm just curious, if it's like a 60, 90 day turnaround, or if it's like a 6-month turnaround.
Yeah, I'd say within pretty much time.
Cool. Yes. Thank you. All questions?
All right, anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I I'd like to make the motion.
Okay,
I authorize the city manager to issue a request for proposals or an RFP for a system integrator of record.
Second.
have a motion from Councilor Peterson and a second from Councilor Tyro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we're just moving right along. We are on to item number 7, council training budget, page 55 through 56, and Jen.
The council has a limited training budget this year. I wanted to bring this to you just for transparency, for your input on some upcoming events. If you had any changes or any thoughts on this. Ultimately, this is your pot of money, and since it's so limited, I'm asking for your stewardship and input whenever we spend these limited resources. So for now, I'm proposing for the August 25 city county dinner at Carlton that Dave, myself, Mayor Frank attend. And that would leave $350 for the remainder of the fiscal year for participation in city county dinner budgets. Again, I want to bring this to you in the interest of transparency and see if you had any input on the use of these funds.
Questions, comments?
I have a comment. I think with the limited budget. In personal opinion, if we're looking at the dinners throughout the fiscal year, it makes the most sense for the city manager and the mayor to make as many appearances as possible. I'm personally okay with foregoing attendance at any of these dinners in this fiscal year, because I think if we need to put our best foot forward as a city, that's, you know, in particular, 2 people, city manager and mayor, and then obviously our debt director as well, on the ones that we'd like to do that. But, that would be my opinion. I would probably ask the rest of us to forego it this fiscal year. But that's just my 2 cents.
I think my opinion is similar to yours, that we should forego it as counselors, except that I kind of think Dave should be there. Maybe mayor and really trading off, just because networking, I think, is a really important part of Dave's job.
Agreed. Maybe
Not
try-
that it isn't important to the mayor as well, but I think that he needs to stay visible for us.
Just don't want me there trying
Agreed. Well, it's gonna be 5 dinners versus 3, right?
Right, yeah. Taking turns.
Okay, anybody have any questions or concerns? All right, did you want to make any other input? Or should we just move on? And we'll determine as we go.
I think
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think each event, it's just.
We'll see what needs. Wait, that sounds good to me.
So for the Carlton one, then, so if we're looking at 5, 5 dinners, if we send 2 people to 5, right? Even one of them with 3 knocks that down to 4 total dinners that we can attend.
I'd like to note these are quarterly.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have, this will be,
So we're only gonna have-
yes,
Perfect, so then we're good, so 3 for the first and 2 for the ones after.
Yeah, it's like the one we hosted at the event center over there at Evergreen.
Cool.
So those, yeah, we got ours out of the way, so we don't have to host it.
Nice.
That means less money. So
Yes.
have any money, so.
Real much.
And we can still attend on our own dime if we want.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna move on to item number 7, which we're gonna have the National Night Out plan discussion. Jeremy laid out some roles for us, it looks like. Road maintenance appears to be you and Councilor Hildebrand and Councilor Tyro. And surveying will be us 3. These are very Jen,
I know, I thought of that
Yes.
too.
what if I wanna do the grill?
Actually, do you really? It's really.
I just had to.
It's really good.
No, you will
Shower after that one.
No, I don't wanna.
I will
take the
not
grill.
give it up
It's
willingly.
On that day, and then you gotta be in front of that grill.
Yeah, I'd rather soft salads.
I'm okay with something. And table clearing is Jeremy. I love it.
So I asked Dave to put y'all to work, and I told him to give me the dirtiest job, and
The table clearing it is.
yeah, that's what I told him to.
Yeah. That's, we did all the shopping today, okay, so everything is now here on hand. Public Works will be working tomorrow to kind of set it up, get all the picnic tables over to the picnic shelter area. We're shutting down Fourth Street, and that way the fire and police or sheriff's department should all be there. And have their vehicles there for the kids to see and so forth. Kind of laid it out that we're bringing extra tables over as well. Obviously, we already have bathrooms there, so that's good. And hopefully, we'll do a little decorating of that picnic shelter in the morning. We kind of get it. Chris, I want to say thank you. Chris likes to bring over a lot of stuff here that he gets from other people, and sometimes we go, oh my gosh, where are we gonna put it? But this time, he brought over all this red, white, and blue napkins, utensils, cups. It's awesome, and decorations, so it fits the theme. And we can use it, we have enough that we can use it for a few of these, as well as during the year, so that's great, thank you. Yeah, it was really good, really good.
So question, I think, do you, what time do you need us there? What-
Okay, so
what time?
we will have it ready to go right around by, so it starts at 5:30. So if you're on hand. I don't wanna sit you there too early, 5 o'clock seems about right to
Don't
me.
get off till 5 o'clock, so you guys ain't gonna see.
That's okay, cause it won't be served until 5:30 anyway, but we'll have other things there. Everything will be there, we'll have everything, the beverages iced down and all that kind of stuff, so it'll be all prepped, you just step in and. You know, do the deal, so it should be good, yes,
You have a place for me if like at the end of the table.
yes, definitely, yes, in
You
fact. Yeah, in fact, we should have you, maybe where all
Oh,
the utensils and the paper plates and all that are. To
To
make sure that that's working correctly and so forth for everybody, so, yeah, we can put that on there, that's great.
Level floor.
Yeah, I know, in fact, I may use you guys on the sidewalk there. That way it's level, and then, yeah, it'd be a lot easier for you in particular to be able to maneuver. So yes, definitely we'll do it,
Well, I'm
and then
glad,
we'll keep the barbecue a little bit away so that. The smoke, 2 years ago,
Oh,
barbecue was right where everything was.
But
Whew.
Annette Frank is a magnet for smoke. If we're anywhere near her, we're gonna get
that's the
out.
damn truth.
We better get a fan and blow it down the.
When there's smoke, there's a fire.
Yeah, yeah,
It's probably because they know I'm always mad.
and,
I have a battery operated fan now because of that power outage. I can bring it and it can blow the smoke away.
yeah, exactly.
Put on my desk, the girls' spot.
Also, asked Drew to put it on the community, Facebook, board, so he's done that now, so that's good, we've got it on all of our social media platforms. Yes,
The inn. They are.
Yes.
Promoting it.
oh, good.
And, they are expecting the clown. We have traded dad jokes.
Yep, I figured such. You
That'd
know,
be
you're gonna
cool.
have all of Fourth Street this year.
Yeah. They are doing some amazing promotion of the city and this is cool.
Yeah, no, that's great, great to hear.
But yeah, they were out on the corner. We had tourists at our parade. I felt them. They were there and they were happy.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great.
And they're coming back. They are gonna be here tomorrow night.
Very good.
Good, that'll be fun. It'll be
All
fun.
right, well, I'm
So
excited.
look forward to seeing y'all.
Already set the alarm.
Then the temperature's supposed to be 77, so,
Perfect. Beautiful.
My phone just told me 79, but that's,
okay.
it's
What
supposed
if
to
you
be
stay
cloudy.
under 80?
Anytime.
It's gonna be like.
Wednesday is showing 70% chance of possible rain.
What?
Yeah,
That'd be crazy.
I'm like,
Yeah,
goodness, it's tomorrow.
yeah, that'd be good fun.
That would be.
Thank you for the work on this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Love doing it. It's fun, but.
It is perfect. All right, let's see, we are going to. If anybody had any questions about any of the billings or the information from code enforcement in our packets? Nope. Excellent. then we'll
Oh,
go,
We
yes,
go, I was hoping we would get that water production report.
yeah.
We got the billing part, the money part, but I have a question about water, if I can. I'm thinking in terms of like a cash flow statement where you have cash at the beginning of the month, money in, money out, cash at the. Do we have a water production flow statement like that? Because what we learned last month is we might collect water and not sell it this month. If we see those numbers, we're gonna think, oh, no leak. Do we know at the beginning of every and the end of the month how much water we have on hand? Is there a report we can get that shows us? We had this much, we brought in this much, we billed that much, we should have this much left. Although we only have this much, we might have a leak. Do we have a report that would tell us that the city is keeping an eye on the difference between collected and billed? Do you understand the connecting this to like a cash flow statement? Status at the beginning of the month, in, out, status at the
Like
end.
product on the shelf, that's what.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's almost sounds like inventory report.
Do we have anything like that for water production? Would it take much in the way of staff time to create that? I
So-
think it would be valuable. I think it'd be helpful.
We do have a lot, I've asked the Public Works Department to start collecting a lot of data related to our water system, water production, well levels. I have a lot of data in a spreadsheet and it's not in a format that's easily understandable for you. I look at it every day. I reviewed it today with our Public Works team. But to turn that into what you're describing, I don't know how I would do that. And I don't, to be honest, I don't know.
Aren't there
Because,
too many variables to really have a clear picture of something like that?
well, let me back up for just a second. We do have some data that you can look at to determine how much we're producing versus how much is getting sold. So the
Okay.
difference is
We've seen
how
that.
much is in the reservoir.
Hmm.
So we do have that, translating that into a format that's easily understandable would take some work. But I think that in combination with some of the other metrics that we're tracking would help you give you a fuller picture of how our wells and springs are producing. For instance, Public Works is tracking the motors for the wells, so the gallons per minute that they're producing before they have to turn them off. So it's showing that it's like one well is 55 gallons per minute, and then they're having to throttle it down to 50. So that's where we are in some of them. They're looking at a measure called it's the feet above the screen. So when the well is running, how high is that water above the screen? And then they're looking at when the well is off, where does that water go back up to? So you can plot trends over time to see like when you turn the motor off, you know, there's a slight decline in that water getting recharged in the well. And then if you look at like with the run times on the motors, back a month or so ago, they were having 3, 4, 5 days in between running it. Now that's down to 3 or 2 days. So we're looking at all of these variables. But to put that into like a snapshot report would take some work.
I got the impression we were supposed to be helping keep an eye on leakage. Is,
We're supposed to ask the questions about it, but it's not for us to physically do.
okay,
So when they
Alright,
bring
yeah.
their public works reporting, it's up to us to look at it and say, explain to me why this number says this and this one shows this.
okay. Alrighty then. But I guess maybe what I should ask is, to have that production spreadsheet in our packages opposed to the one we have in here today. It's easier for us to see.
If I may, the report isn't ready on the first of the month, which is why it wasn't provided in this packet.
Thank you for that, that's a
It's
big,
the way the
That-
water
that-
bill gets
yeah,
billed
okay.
out.
But it was in a work session back before, right?
Yes.
Alrighty, thank you for that, okay,
Got it. All right. On to council comments and concerns, I'll start real quick. Bathrooms at the Andrew Smith Park.
Thank you, Mayor. I haven't had a chance to look into this. During tomorrow's management team meeting, I will discuss it with Public Works and report back.
Okay, if there is something you all need me to do to help make sure whether it's monitoring the bathroom, like I'm gone most of the day, but once I'm home, I can go down there every so often and check if you want. Anyways, just saying, I'm perfectly okay with doing that if that's necessary. It's just 2 houses down, so. There's so many people that use that park. And the families go and they like to use the swings and stuff, and every time they have to go pee, they have to load all the cards up and go down around the corner. Well, that's not fair because 1 or 2 people are vandalizing.
and
So,
Mayor,
yeah,
this is one of the Facebook discussions I've been having recently. Pointing out to people. Well, the city has to maintain this. Well, I'm pointing out that we have the money in our budget for basic maintenance. But we don't have the money to keep repairing it day after day after day.
and why doesn't anybody flip and call the police or something when they see some jackass in the bathroom doing stuff? That's what I don't understand.
This is.
If
part
you
of-
see something, say something. Is that not what they're always telling us? So please, if anybody on YouTube land is listening to this, if you see something, say something. That's all I gotta say about that. Sorry, I'm a little. So anyways, but yeah, that makes me mad that, a handful of people are ruining it for a whole bunch of people, and that's not right, so. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the water tour recap. There was we went to the action discussion and talked, and there's a lot of good information and a redundancy in water supply that is. Very, yeah, sounds good. But there's a lot more discussion that would need to occur, particularly with the costs and other things. But it's not something I would say that we need to walk away from the discussion. I think it's something we need to have a discussion about it. With the city of Bentonville, if that is the direction we eventually decide to go, whether it be. A partial, we're just attached and only use it when we need it, or we actually are attached and using it, so. It's worth the discussion. And apparently I've been told some things have changed from the last time, the first time around when I was involved. And it was just catastrophically expensive. But if more of the cities go in, and since it's with the city of McMinnville and they already own a whole lot of water rights, it might be worthy to discuss. But again, there's costs involved, there's construction involved, and a lot of unknowns, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you said a word there that I think is really important, and it's redundancy. So as we go through this, if the city of Bentonville's watching this, we're about to hopefully get a lot of funding for our water infrastructure system that we're gonna be investing. And so if McMinnville wants to push a regional water system, I think that's a great idea. But if we are gonna be investing so much money in our own system, I wanna make sure that these 2 ideas can cohabitate.
That was a talking.
Exactly, and this is maybe for the table, this is maybe for those listening, but. You're gonna get a much better response from us if you say, hey, redundancy is a key piece of this, use your systems that you have. And then if you need us, we're here. Or if your system, which is only supposed to last 20+ years, starts being phased out, then you can phase in more. You know, McMinnville Water, that whole system is a multi-100-year system. You know, what we're talking about for what we can feasibly do with our infrastructure, our long term is 20 years. Right, 20 years, 30 years. You know, there's some pieces that are gonna go longer than that. But, you know, I think that even if we are maybe not wanting to go 100% right out of the gate, as our system starts to phase out, as our system starts to, fail, quote unquote, over the decades, then you're gonna get more of a phase in. So, you know, if I could ask anything from, whoever's driving this, it's gonna be to, make it so that it's more realistic for the small cities.
Yeah, and I think that was an understanding during the discussion that this time it's probably much more attainable than it was in the past. Did you wanna say something, kid?
I do.
Go for it.
Your comment concerns me.
Okay.
Cause I don't want the perception to be that anything is being shoved down anybody's throat. This is something this is an opportunity
Absolutely.
for the smaller cities to sign on to what would be like a regional project.
Yeah.
McMinnville is not out there promoting this at all. McMinnville, we're trying to court to the table to actually be involved in what, we believe as a regional project. So I just don't want, it to be in people's heads that, McMinnville's out there as the big dog trying to
Yeah,
force
no,
it.
they're
No,
not.
absolutely not. In fact, the opposite.
That's good.
We're trying to bring everybody to the table because I truly think as this regional water starts coming together, it's gonna take everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't get that in your head. It concerns me that.
Yeah,
is-
So here's the thing, so, I think that in these moments, that those pieces of clarity are super important, because the narrative can get twisted so easily, right? So, McMinnville's not pushing this, we're trying to, for the city, we want the communal piece of that. That, soundbite, for lack of a better term, is gonna be super important as this conversation goes. Because I think that all of us here are on the same page on this. And just making sure that narrative and that conversation, is clear, is concise, is making sure that our residents aren't getting alarmed of, oh, we're gonna lose, all of our well systems, we're gonna lose X, we're gonna lose Z. Like, there have been conversations about that, from residents of concern of like, oh, we're gonna give up everything that we have and go, 100% into this. So like, there's just that clarity as these conversations go on is gonna be so key, because that narrative can be twisted just so easily.
I think
Uh,
we combat that though by including our community in the discussion.
yeah, 100%.
And so, once we have a few more discussions and time to talk about stuff, I think it would be a good thing to have like a,
Yeah,
a town hall and we actually
yeah.
open it up for the community.
And there's a lot of people that remember the last time it didn't work out, right? And so making sure that the narrative, to your point, is different than the last conversation is gonna be super important.
Last time too, I think there were some driving specific people behind it that were pushing it really hard.
Yeah.
And that's not at all the sense that I got.
So, yeah, this is.
It was,
For me, and I don't wanna speak on the past, cause I wasn't super involved in it, but I know what we're doing now. There's a way broader approach. There's actually, the COG is actually involved now. They got a grant funding to actually look at the ins and outs of actually bringing this regional, water, coalition or community back together. And what it would look like far as communication aspects of it, so we don't end up with, the wrong communication points. And to another point, this is not new.
Yeah.
Lafayette went through it, so don't be afraid to reach out to Lafayette and find out the good, bad, and the ugly that happened there, and learn from that as, if you guys do decide to, come onto the regional, water community aspects of this. The other thing I will say is that it's not just the small communities, it's not just Dayton, Carlton, Yamhill, and Lafayette anymore. They're actually starting to talk about, Amity was at the table, Dundee was at the table. We mentioned Newburgh. There,
Sheridan.
this is very broad. So anyway, just, and there's I mean, I'm at most of the meetings, so if anybody ever has any questions, just call me. And if I don't know the answer, I'll make sure I get you in the right person so that we can kind of progress with this without getting the wrong messaging out there.
And we got the actual water board from McMinnville there, part of the discussion, explaining, you know, and it was very, just a discussion, there was no pushing, no shoving, no nothing, it was
That's good.
just a discussion.
Cool.
And they'll explain the whole cost of it too. And I think that was one of the breakdowns early on when it was just the four smaller cities. Well, we're paying more than, you know, what the ratepayers in McMinnville are paying. Yeah, there's explanations for that too, because all the infrastructure that was put into McMinnville's, and then if you're gonna pump through that infrastructure, there's rate calculations and maintenance costs that go with that, plus. Yeah, there's a lot
There's a
to
lot,
it,
yeah.
and honestly, if you want, this won't be the last regional meeting that we have. You guys should really attend those just to know what's going on and stay up to date, because I think it's gonna be a really good conversation to have.
Well, and you know, we're gonna be questions too, and so we're gonna be able
Yep.
to answer those.
Yeah, you guys will be at the forefront when depending on what way you decide to go. You'll be at the forefront and have to know how to answer those questions, and hopefully everybody has the same messaging on the direction.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, well, I got nothing else, cause I'm pretty opinionated and I'd rather not say. So, I'll let you start.
Yeah, I just wanna talk a little bit about our July 21st meeting. I went home and I was feeling, I don't know, unsatisfied, or I couldn't figure out what I was doing. I got up in the morning and I realized how I felt. I felt maybe a little sad. I feel like we went a little too fast, that details were unclarified. And that, some people and situations were left without the honor they deserved. So I'll be a little more specific. You know, Luke is gone, and Luke, I mean, I just kind of thank you, like, you know, he's a lovely person and he brought a nice energy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luke. Jim McGuire was really a mentor to me and kind of kept us all online and was really good at keeping things squared. And thank you, Jim. And the events committee, that's a group of people that care very dearly about this place.
Yeah.
And I just felt like we moved through there. I feel like there still are details I don't know, and maybe I don't need to. But, but I, you know, good, bad, or different, how you feel about that. I think we need to honor the people that for the work that they've done, the events committee for the work that they've done. So I just wanted to get that on the record, that I want to honor the people for what they've done. And I agree with all the decisions we made, so I'm not saying that. I want calling you that back or anything. I voted and I meant it and I agree. I just like the process. I think one or two of us maybe need to restudy Robert's rules, because I think they're as annoying as they can be. I think they help us stay in order, and they help us to take a breath and say, I adore you. Let's take a breath and learn about this. Yeah, so I just wanted to express my feelings about that meeting. And thank everybody for the work that you did and that you had to do ahead of time. And I know there must have been some stressful things going on. I know that, and I thank you for your work in that. But I just wanted to get on the record that we need to honor the people in this town, you know, for what they've done, and just step back from it. So that's my piece.
All right. Counselor Mackin.
Oh, I wanted to talk about the LOC conference coming up in October. I have been the only one going to conferences because I have been the only one available. But it appears maybe there could be some slightly more formal reporting coming back from it. So I was gonna suggest, probably you might be a good one for this. A little information sheet that I could take with me to the individual workshops. Recapping, maybe we can decide what to have on there. But what was this conference? How will it apply to Dayton? And then I can come back, read off what I put on those and share it with the council, make something a little bit more formal. I'm willing to, take notes. And bring back the information the council wants to hear. So that's something we could do between now and September. On the subject of the city county dinners, those are mostly networking. And I'm not brokenhearted about not going because there have been too many cases where I didn't have a restroom to use. And I haven't made any real networking connections with the county. So I'm doing much better through LOC, I'll go and, stay there.
Alright,
So, thank you.
Councilor Temper.
The only things I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit was, the DCDA and the Dayton Friday nights. This last Friday, we had, Voices of Dayton. Actually talking with the, attendees out there, they loved it. And initially, when it first started, it was a little unnerving. It was not too many people out there. But as it went on, that park filled up. And there was actually quite a few people there, given that, there was festivals in the other towns. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Also wanted to note that the Dayton history booth, idea has really taken off. There has been a lot of interest from a lot of the community members. People are bringing pictures. They're asking for, potential sale of the photos. They want to buy them, purchase them from us. So there might be some opportunities that we're starting to look into there. Yeah, so Dave and I have talked a little bit about it. I've got some other ideas that we can tie the school in with the print shop as well. That's been part of the thing that I've been doing. Exactly. The other thing that we're just brainstorming right now is, what we're calling the Dayton Community Leadership Forum. We're gonna talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. We got a meeting at 8 AM with, the president and vice president of DCDA. And just kind of discuss it a little bit further. I can get some preliminary, letters and tracking sheets that we've started to develop over to you guys. Just so you can look at it. But I think with the interest that we have been seeing with the school, with some other community leaders on some of the smaller projects, the trail, the garden, some ideas with the farmers market. When they're talked about, there's been a lot of interest. And so we figure let's give them, a platform to speak. And so that's what we're trying to work on right now. So,
One thing on the prints, so this is coming from an employee of an artist, if you can do like print runs that are numbered, that's gonna, that exclusivity sells. So like, if we did a vineyard print or whatever, and we made 25 prints of them and he hand annotated in pencil, on the bottom 0125, what it was in cursive and then his signature, like people would go and find their number. And then you can do different print runs of different sizes and different, like, say you do 8 by, just as a throw out example, 8x10s to do 50, and then, do a 16x20, you do 5. Right, so it's the same thing with wine and selling different bottle sizes. Folks want to collect that kind of stuff, and so there's definitely an ability to curate that to really hit the collector eye for sure. Yeah.
Very nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, right.
Sure, you're about that. Sorry.
No, that's it.
Councilor Frank.
So I just got 2 small things real fast, and one of these is probably in the report, but so specifically with the comment made on the bridge earlier today, I think that when it comes to, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the vandalism and things like that we've been seeing, the farther out you get from the nucleus, the more it happens, right? So the bridge is kind of one of the farthest out. It's big, it's shiny, it's enticing for someone who wants to cause problems, right? It's a little darker, it's removed, and so, as you get farther away from that nucleus, I think that the security and surveillance, for lack of a better term, becomes more important. I know that there are hurdles to some of that for us, like we can't necessarily, from past conversations, the realistic nature of getting any kind of, security camera set up on the bridge is pretty low, right? If I'm wrong on that, that'd be great for us to explore, whether that's, satellite cameras, because we probably wouldn't be able to tie into the city Wi-Fi all the way out there. Not sure, I don't have a specific proposal because I thought of it in this meeting, but. I wonder if we think outside in and we put more of our emphasis of surveillance and security on the wings and then move towards the nucleus, I wonder if that'll help more. I don't know, again, if this is realistic in any way, and I'm sure you guys have already thought about it, but I just wanted to bring it up. Second piece is the door-to-door soliciting. I wasn't sure where we were at on that. I know there's a ton of stuff on your all's plate right now, so if we don't have the data yet, that's okay. But it's something that I would like to bring back to the table in maybe 60 days or less, something like that, for us to talk about.
Sure. I appreciate that. So Dave and I are meeting on Friday to review some information. We'll be bringing that to you in September.
Excellent. That sounds great. Thank you, guys. That's all I got.
Excellent. All right, we are gonna move on to the tourism and economic development.
So mine's real brief today, since we just met a few weeks ago. Obviously, we focused on today's presentation. As Jeremy just alluded to, we've got a meeting on Friday to go over a number of these different things. One of them is solicitation policy. We basically have gone out and looked at what 15 other cities, all in within Yamhill and outside, are doing, and it's interesting information. So I think you're gonna appreciate some of that as to what's reported back. We're gonna talk about exclusionary zones. McMinnville had one, and it was utilized primarily in their downtown district, but also on their public properties. In reference to people that created vandalism and were caught for doing so. It allowed the city then to banish them from those areas for up to 90, 180, and up to 360 days through their judge. So it was very helpful, especially when I was downtown manager, when we were able to utilize that, because and it was respected. Of course, obviously they have a police department. We don't, but if they're around there, we can report, and that does make it, something of use. We're gonna talk about City Hall project and so forth. We've been doing a lot of research on that. How to go about approaching Civic Center, things like that, and so I've been doing research for Jeremy on that as well. We've got some more information I recently got that I'll be sharing with him. And we got a few other things too, but yeah, so Friday we'll be working on that, and we'll report from that for sure.
Excellent.
Good, yeah.
Appreciate that.
I don't see Public Works here, so assume that means no Public Works. So we'll go on to city manager's report then.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to touch on Councilor Mackin's earlier question. I don't believe I answered that satisfactorily. I will put all of this data in a PDF file and bring it to y'all at the next meeting. And we can talk about, what's valuable to you. And how you might like to see that in a report, so. Moving on to other activities. I received a formal invitation from Business Oregon to submit for funding through their technical assistance program. I brought this to you at previous meetings. You approved an intake form, we turned that in. They invited us formally to apply. This will be for the Fisher Farms water quality testing. So they'll provide $50,000 in grant funding, and then they'll fund the rest through a 10-year 1% loan. This month, Public Works will fill out the detail on that form, and then I'll bring it to you at your September meeting for your buy-in before we send it off. We are working with GSI, our hydrogeologist of record, on claims of beneficial use and extension of time applications for our water rights for the joint well field. So the extension is to give us time to have the claims of beneficial use through the Oregon Water Resources Permit to certify our water rights for those wells. So they're working on that project. It's a $15,000 expense. I did check on just out of curiosity, if they're doing those, why aren't we doing Fisher Farms? The transfer certification for those water rights give us until 2036 to perfect those water rights. So we're good on that. The finance director and I have been working on our fiscal 23-24 single audit for federal programs. She's made a lot of progress on that. Now we're at a point where we've given the auditor most everything and are waiting on them. On the transportation system plan, we have a advisory committee on Thursday evening. And then they'll be setting up a public engagement station at Dayton Friday nights this Friday. Our finance director recruitment is well underway. I've received applications, I've received a lot of applications. Out of those, 24 people met the minimum requirements. And we're interviewing 12 of those. We interviewed 4 last week. We're interviewing 8 this week. If everything goes to plan, we'll have an offer ready to give somebody by the end of next week. Here's some very highly qualified people. On the utility bridge bollards, I've asked Public Works to work with our excavating company to have them come out there and dig some deep posts for these bollards with concrete. And then they're the kind of bollards where they have a lock attached, so you can unlock it, pull it off, so vehicles can get through. So they are looking into this, something much firmer, much more secure, so we can prevent incidents like we had. And I'm still waiting on the Christmas tree bill. It still hasn't been signed by the governor last I checked. So we're still waiting for confirmation that that's been approved and our Fisher Farms funding is gone through. What questions do you have for me?
I have nothing. Later I might have something.
Okay.
But
I'll remember, but do you have any more information on that gravel lot? The food court.
No, ma'am, I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to look into it. It's on
I
the list.
understand. I totally get it. It's there and it's not going anywhere right away,
Oh,
but it would be good to clarify.
I did delegate this for a code enforcement officer, so it's in his queue. I'll make sure to stay on top of it.
I appreciate that.
all right. Anybody else? Anything? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned 8:07 PM. Potty breaks or anything? I just looked mine because could take them more. And then we're gonna go into an executive session.
I'm the best.
Potty break, I'm like.